Hey everyone, this is going to be a review on the Cold Steel Tie Machete. The blade length on this is 22 inches. The handle length on this is 14.5 inches. The weight on this is 1 pound 13.4 ounces. And the blade thickness is 2.8 millimeters thick. The point of balance, as you can see, is fairly close to the guard. It's 2 1/4 inches away from the guard. The blade is made of 1055 carbon steel, and it does have a spring temper, so as you can see, the blade does flex and return back to straight. The handle is made of polypropylene, and it's well shaped. Up at the top, it's actually more oval than it is at the bottom. At the bottom, it's more round. Traditionally, tie swords, or da as they are called, generally have more round handles, but some are more oval. But the more oval is what I prefer because it helps with edge alignment. The handle is very well shaped. It looks a lot like a traditional da. This might be a bit slim for some people, but for me it's just fine. If it is, however, you could always wrap this in athletic tape, hockey tape, string, something like that. The texture for me is fine. These grooves here actually do help with grip. However, you could also stipple the grip if you wanted to. This is a very affordable machete. I only paid $20 or $25 for it. So we have to consider that when we talk about this blade. This is very light, very nimble, even one-handed. It handles very well. It's light, which is great for people who need something lighter. Maybe you just don't have the strength for a heavier sword. So that's one thing that's nice. Or if you were using this while backpacking or something like that, it is very lightweight. So that can definitely be an advantage. So in terms of historical accuracy, this is not historically accurate for the blade thickness. However, again, it's only $20 or $25, so we have to consider that. And in terms of performance, it actually performs very well. On a real historic da, the blade thickness down at the base is 3 to sometimes just over 4 times as thick as this is. So this is more a sword-shaped machete than a representation of a historic da. That said, as thin as it is, the blade does flex a little bit, as I showed, but it's not overly flexible. Mainly because the blade isn't too long, the blade is fairly wide, and that helps in making this not overly flexible. The edge on this machete out of box was not great. It had a significant burr going down the entire edge, and it was rolled. So before I could even start cutting with this, I had to fix the edge. Not a big deal, but if you're someone who isn't comfortable sharpening machetes, then you're going to have to figure out something to do about that. For me, I just sharpened this on my work sharp. Another thing about this blade is the grinds are a bit off. As you can see, the grind right here is not the same as it is on this side. But for this price range, that's not a big deal. The blade has a paint finish on it, which definitely helps with corrosion. It's not the best looking, in my opinion, aesthetically. However, functionally, it does work. This is the sheath it comes with, and it's really good for the money. It's a good quality nylon. It has very good stitching. There are plenty of rivets for reinforcement. There's a polymer end to the sheath. The loop to keep the machete in the sheath can be turned either way, and it does have a back strap. I wish that this sheath came with a belt loop. Not a big deal, I could attach a belt loop if I wanted to. or maybe even hang this from your belt with the back strap. But either way, not a big deal. In fact, another option would be even to stitch the top of the back strap into a loop and then just make the back strap longer if you still want to use the back strap. My only other complaint is with the back strap. It comes with this keeper that the strap just slides into, but there's nothing really holding it there. So this can just fall right out pretty easily. So what I ended up doing is I used the keeper and a rubber band. So I just put the rubber band up near the keeper, and now that strap isn't going anywhere. Here's the machete in the sheath with the retention strap on. It doesn't fall out. To get this out, you actually have to unsnap it. So it's actually a very secure sheath. I do wish that the end of the sheath was square. That way the machete can go in either way. As it is, the machete can go in backwards, but I don't know how durable this sheath would be long term if you were putting the machete in backwards. Here is putting the machete in the right way. As you can see, it fits. And here's putting it in the other way. And it just stops just short. As you can see, there's a little bit of blade sticking out, which makes me think over the long haul that definitely wouldn't be a good idea. So to wrap this up, I do recommend the tie machete. I think for the money, it's an excellent buy. If you're someone that maybe you're just wanting to get into cutting things like pool noodles or things like that, you know, backyard cutting, this is a good option. If you're someone who has lots of swords and maybe you just want something for fun, I can definitely think of a worse way to spend $20 or $25. If you're wanting this for actually using this as a machete, it does definitely work. However, if you're someone who's looking at this as something to take the place essentially of a historic da, the blade's too thin. One thing we have to keep in mind as well in terms of the blade thickness is for this price range, even if this was historical thickness, it wouldn't have a distal taper, meaning the blade up at the tip would be just as thick as it is at the base. So this would not handle well at all. I do wish the blade was just a little bit thicker, but again, for the price range, I think it's just fine. I hope this video was helpful to anyone looking at buying one of these machetes. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.